Let's go back to the oil leak in the Gulf. We know this disaster is going to cost BP billions in cleanup costs and settlements, but what about the non-cash costs? The damage to BP's image and reputation. For more, let's bring in Jez Frampton. He's a specialist in brand building and runs the consulting firm Interbrand. Jez, this is anything but brand building. This is brand destruction. You can count the damage to BP in any number of ways. More than $60 billion of lost market value. Credit Suisse estimating the cleanup and settlement costs at $37 billion. But what about the brand? How do we go about ballparking the damage, the long-term damage to BP's brand?
Absolutely, and of course the way that you need to look at it is that long-term value of what is being created, and indeed whether you look at it is there are three streams. First of all, you're looking at the revenue and effectively economic value add that is created by BP. The second thing are the most interesting things from a branding perspective. The first is what we call role of brand, which is how important is the brand in choosing. Well, obviously that's very different if you're a government buying crude oil as a commodity versus if it's you buying gas for your car. And then, of course, the third thing is what we call brand strength, which is how well are they going to perform against their competitors. I think without question this is going to have a long-term effect on BP's brand. How well they clean it up will obviously affect that, but at the same time where they're dealing with the crisis, they have to be thinking carefully about how they're trying to rebuild the brand for the long term. That positioning around beyond petroleum is what they need to be considering.
Well, Jez, you mentioned beyond petroleum. We all know that BP has in all likelihood spent hundreds of millions of dollars establishing that brand identity, trying to shake off the image of British Petroleum as a stodgy old English state-owned company. Is that all out the window now? Is all that investment effectively useless?
Well, whether it's out the window, I think, how they actually deal with this. I mean, this is probably, one of the most world visible disasters in the oil industry. There are cameras on them from every angle. They appear to be doing their very best. They have a lot of luck so far in actually being able to stop the leak and indeed deal with the cleanup. Again, these things take time. We all know that. We've seen these things in the past. We've seen the pictures of the damage that it can do to ecologies and wildlife. So in the medium term, how they deal with it will certainly have an effect upon their reputation. But in the longer term, making statements like we weren't prepared for this doesn't really help. A company that was supposed to be about beyond petroleum, who was thinking about the environment and the effect of energy on a wider scale, really should have been a little bit more prepared, or at least a bit cleverer in the way that it was talking about what it was doing.
Jez, with about 20 seconds to go, can you think of any other disaster that you would liken this to in terms of brand destruction?
Well, I suppose one of the biggest ones and obvious ones is Union Carbide and Bhopal. I mean, the effect that had upon that area and indeed the effect that it had on that company has to be something that they need to be considering all the time in the back of their minds. Brent Spar, which was the Shell incident that they had in the North Sea around 10 years ago, similar issue.
Jez, I'm afraid that's it for our interview. Jez Frampton, everybody, from Interbrand, likening BP's disaster in the Gulf to Bhopal.